First of all, so who is operating this clock timer? It shows 30 minutes. I've not planned for a 30-minute speech. Can you change it to 10 minutes, please? Yeah, that's better. So, thank you. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Mitra of MoveInSync and Humanize for putting together this event. GCCs have become a very important driver of our country's growth. In fact, just 3 days ago, the budget was announced, and I'm sure all of you would have read that a national policy on how to promote GCCs, particularly Tier 2 towns, is on the annual national policy, which obviously means that Tier 1 towns, Tier 1 cities rather, like Hyderabad, Bangalore, etc., are already well taken care of, and the momentum is now to take GCCs to Tier 2 locations also. I'll speak a little bit about that, but GCCs clearly are very important from any government's perspective. In Hyderabad, in particular, we have seen phenomenal growth in our performances on various commonly used metrics. For example, the volume and value of software which is developed, the number of new jobs created in the tech sector, the number of new companies which have set shop here. On all these accepted parameters, our performance has been very, very significant. In fact, one of the best in the country, the best growth rate for sure in the country. And a large part of this growth is coming from GCC. So it's also very important to keep taking stock of what has been the experience of existing GCCs, what is it that still kind of is a matter of concern for them, what are the issues which needs to be addressed in a very comprehensive and long-term way. And therefore this conference, this conclave gives that kind of platform to understand what the GCCs want, what the GCCs expect, and some key messages from our side also, which can be passed on to the GCCs. So I'm happy that I got some part of Mr. Agarwal's presentation, which was focused on the commute experience, and this is again something which matters to all of us, regardless of which sector do you work for, whether it's a GCC, whether it's a regular tech company, it's a manufacturing industry or a service sector. Commute is a very important part of whether our quality of life is good or not. I know of many people, not just in Hyderabad, but in other parts of the country, other parts of the world, who spend hours on commute. Not 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour or so, 3-4 hours on commute. And obviously the quality of life is very different when 4 hours of your daily life is spent just on commute. Of course, they make up for it by utilizing that time also as productively as they can. Many of you would be aware that lots of women who travel on the local trains in Bombay actually use the time to chop vegetables. So that when they reach home, straight away the vegetable is put on the chopped vegetables are put on the cooker or whatever. So different ways of utilizing time in the commute also. So even the unpleasant possibility is turned into something productive. But still, it should be everyone's endeavor to make that also least unproductive, least unpleasant, and look at solutions. So I'm happy that many ideas have been generated, and all of you, I'm sure, are members of a very important forum in Hyderabad, which is called the Hyderabad Security Council. And of course, representatives of the SC are present here from Varchusa, who is there. So many of you would have attended their recent interaction, which happened I think a couple of months ago, in which lots of issues related to commute were discussed, and also traffic management, etc. And people from the police, from ITE&C and all other relevant stakeholders, ITE&C, they were all there. I unfortunately could not participate, but the feedback which I got was very positive. The police commissioner himself told me that at least a dozen plus implementable ideas have come, and these also are very short-term implementable ideas, not something which is way ahead in the horizon. So I'm happy to hear all that, and as a city, it is always our endeavor to provide a good experience to our companies, to the people who work in those companies, so that a good word of mouth spreads and more and more companies continue to look at Hyderabad. But there are four other points which I would like to mention in this context. One is that decentralization has to happen at some point or the other. While Hyderabad, where we are, is the hub, and there are some advantages of being a hub and being able to attract talent and therefore the network effects and other common infrastructure, etc., like schools and hospitals of high quality can be provided. But we should also look at the way we organize our work, and is there some part of the work which is not really critical for the employees to be in such a high real estate cost location? Can that part of the work be hived off and we look at other parts of Hyderabad or even a tier 2 location for that matter? As I mentioned, the tier 2 policy for GCC is also on the anvil, and I'm sure lots of incentives will be provided to companies who go to tier 2. As a government in Telangana, we already have a tier 2 strategy, a tier 2 policy. Some of you may be aware that at 9 different locations in the state, we have constructed IT towers. So you need not even worry about real estate. You can just move in there. These are plug and play facilities, and to make it even more attractive, we have chosen not to charge any rent for the first 2 years. So 2 years you get rent-free accommodation in premier cities like Warangal and also smaller cities and towns like Karimnagar, Khammam, Mahbubnagar, Nizamabad, Siddipet, Nalgonda, and so on and so forth. So this is something which is, of course, there. Many times when we speak about decentralization, one question which is automatically asked is the talent of similar quality? Because when you put something here in Hyderabad, we know that more than 1 million professionals work in this area. Most of them are from reputed colleges, or they have learned lots of new courses, and the best of the best are available here. So let us also not give a very exaggerated picture of a tier 2 location. There will obviously be a difference in quality. A person who is in Khammam will obviously not be able to match someone who has come out of a triple IT or an IIT or a BITS, etc. So let us not fool ourselves or exaggerate saying that there is no dilution of quality. There is a dilution of quality to some extent. But as a government, our attempt is one, to make that gap as limited as possible by introducing skilling program. So some of you would be aware, we have this institution in the government called TASK, Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. So we actually, I don't know how many GCCs have made use of this facility, but this is something very unique to Telangana and something very special to Telangana.